Newport over the weekend. We're still trying to sort out, because there was a little bit of confusion over stewarding.
Yeah.
And no one seems to know the answer. We're also asking the question because the lady that organised it was going to be knocking on the door and at the Newport police station and asking some questions of the policeman that's in charge of it. Dave Powell, name rings a bell. And apparently she knocked on the door for 25 minutes. Was this filmed? You were looking at this. Was it on the BBC website?
It's not on the BBC website. There was a thing, but there is a YouTube video of the march and everything. So I'll pull that up in a minute and have a look at that. Actually, I think Mrs. J put it on one of the other ones. I'll have a look for it in a minute.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's say it's just interesting to say. Is it confusion? Is it I don't know, lack of communication, or is there something else? I mean, the thing is, this lady sat where you are, and she said she took a phone call from the police on Saturday morning at 8:30 before the march, and she was told that she would be met at the door by a policeman. I'm not sure whether it was Dave Powell or not, but she would be met at the door by a policeman, and they never opened the door. And, of course, this was filmed, so it doesn't look good if that's the case. But there might be a genuine reason as to why this didn't happen, the way that it was supposed to have. But we'll see. We'll see what's... hopefully she's going to give us a call and tell us what's what. But I've got a statement from our dear friend Duncan Smith, actually, who's... I've asked him some questions over the weekend. He's got back to me with some information. I've then asked him 2 more questions, and I'm still waiting to hear. And obviously Simon Hayes, the police commissioner, I'm still waiting to hear.
Yeah.
He didn't... I mean, bearing in mind, he's only been in the job a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, I expect his feet hasn't touched.
No.
But he wasn't aware of the Damien Nettle story.
Was he not?
But he is now.
No.
He is now, and he's checking it out. And he is... he does know that we're doing a phone-in today about it. So, you know, I think that's probably the best way. We may get a call in and may get the, another official update. But it'll be good to sort of talk about this and get it all out in the open, because I think there is a lot of confusion. And I think that, sadly, I think Facebook is a really, really clever tool. I also think that sometimes maybe it gets in the way a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's the, and people can say, they can put stuff on Facebook, and it mightn't necessarily be, it's just Chinese whispers.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So, I mean, just say, for instance, if you got details on there from Valerie Nettles, you know that she's dealing with the police.
Which is mostly what I read, is whatever Valerie puts up, or Sarah. They do blogs, so I read those. It's probably the best way to be, isn't it? Either go to the police or go to a member of the Nettles family. Source, yeah.
Because otherwise, it may just be, look, I read this somewhere and I'm going to redo that, but I've written it down in a different way. Yeah. And other people, and then that comes out, and Chinese whispers, and all of a sudden it's not what it seems. No. So that's the only thing I will say. That's coming up in the next hour. We've got some Aha, and I've Been Losing You.
Morton Harkett. My sister loves Morton Harkett.
Well, you went a bit wobbly then, didn't you?
Oh, no, I was just thinking about her.
You said more...
Here, don't be a dipstick this Christmas, eh? Why don't you go and see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, eh? At the Medina Theatre, Newport. You know it makes sense, don't you, eh? I'm going to take Raquel between the 22nd and the 30th of December, innit, eh? You can phone them up on 01983 527 020. You know it's cushy, eh? May we? This time next year, we'll be millionaires, won't we?
Why not do 2 things at once this December? Visit the Isle of Wight Christmas Market. One of the many stalls and attractions are personalised. Go and get some great ideas for personalised gifts this Christmas. Mugs, plates, clothing, or something a little more personal. The Christmas Market is open daily until Sunday the 23rd at the Isle of Wight Military Museum on the main Northwood Road. Free entry and free parking too. Ho, ho, ho.
Hello, boys and girls, it's Santa here. This year I'm going to be sitting in my grotto at the Isle of Wight Military Museum from the 1st of December, and I'm going to have lots of my friends here with their market stalls. There will even be a traditional bandstand, food and drink, as well as open-air skating rink. I will even spread Christmas cheer by giving you free parking. Just leave a space for the reindeer. Visit my little elves at www.isleofwight.com isleofwhitechristmasmarket.co.uk for times and more information. Merry Christmas! Ho, ho, ho!
Christmas is coming and the goose is getting fat. What? Who cares about a goose? What you need for Christmas is a party. If you're having a Christmas party, don't forget the music. West White Disco can provide the music for any party. Just call Kelvin on 0800 118 2484. Dates are booking up fast, so don't delay. That's West White Disco, 0800 118 2484 or via the Vectis Radio website.
This is Vectis Radio News. Broadcasting from Newport, this is Vectis.
We've got an open house phone-in, but we are going to start off with a subject that has come to light even more over the weekend. I mean, it's been around us for the last 16 years, incredibly. I think it was November the 2nd, 1996. Damien Nettles disappeared, not been seen since. There's, many people with many an opinion and so on and so forth. And what we want to do is just try and clear the decks, put the facts out there, so that then hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get somewhere with it. Because I say, at the moment, I think everybody's got, their own opinion and what is fact, what is fiction, and so on and so forth. So there was a march that was organised, and the march was all to do with information that was given to the police, 3 lots of information. Two areas in Parkhurst, one in Gurnard.
Yes.
And the police said they're not going to search the area. And I'll read out the statement in just a tick. Basically, they're saying that the 2 areas, there was two in Parkhurst, one in Gurnard, and this has come off the back of the £20,000
No.
reward.
I think the Gurnard and the Parkhurst ones by the human sources were before.
Yeah.
The reward was put out.
Now, what we wanted to do was just clear up, because obviously a couple of weeks ago when this all came out, there was also some figures out there, or something was out there, that the Forestry Commission said no, they couldn't, and the police said that the Forestry Commission had said, and they were kind of, this is what we had heard. We had heard that the Forestry Commission and the police were not at loggerheads, but they were saying the other one didn't want to do this. So we decided, right, we've got to go straight to the horse's mouth. Let's go straight to the police. It's at this moment in time, it's got nothing at all to do with the Forestry Commission, because it is a police investigation, and I would imagine that the police override anything. If they wanted to go and search, they would search, and they wouldn't have a problem. Forestry Commission would just have to step aside, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the case. In the statement, there's nothing. There's no mention of problems or having to discuss things with the Forestry Commission. Do you want me to read the? Yeah. Should I read the email out first?
Yeah.
Because I sent Duncan Smith. Now, Duncan Smith, a very likeable, very nice man, and he's our PR chap at the police now, and he's been there with for a couple of years. And I've got to admit, I ask him for information. If he can give it to me, he always comes back to me very, very quickly, which is good. So I've also sent this same message to Simon Hayes. Now, Simon Hayes is the new police commissioner who was voted in a couple of weeks ago. So I sent him a message. And the message was, basically asking him about the situation. Can you clarify? At the moment, I don't have the answers to your questions. However, I will look into the issues you've raised and get back during the course of next week. I certainly share your desire to understand the facts of this case. So he's now aware of it. Now, we didn't know whether he was aware of it before. What does bother me a little bit, and this is why I wanted to go straight back. It might sound like we're wasting a bit of time, but I wanted to go straight back because a couple of weeks ago we said, why don't somebody write to Simon Hayes, the new police commissioner?
Yeah. And
people had said that they had.
Yeah.
Well, quite clearly, I don't know whether they had or not, because he's saying he doesn't know the answers to the questions. He will look into, and I'm thinking, well, you would do. If somebody had already asked you, you'd know.
You'd be aware of it, yeah.
So that's the first thing to say, and that's not a dig. That's not a dig. That's just that's just a fact. I'm a little, so I'm just trying to get the facts out there. So I sent Duncan a message basically. And I hope we're not going to get Duncan into trouble here, but I think he's just doing his job. So let's just ask the question here. What was the official reason for the police not to search 3 areas that have been requested by Damien's family after evidence suggested that there was a reason to search in 2 areas of Parkhurst and 1 in Gurnard? I just want to be putting the facts out there rather than opinion. Also, what's the official word when people came forward at the request of the police with information for them, then not to follow up on the information that they've been given? How can you tell if info is not genuine without checking? Lastly, is it down to manpower, cost, and how much would it cost to search those areas? Thanks for any information you can give us. So then Duncan has issued a statement on behalf of Dave Powell, I think his name is. Let me just read that. And then we might be able to take some calls and see what you think. Right, okay. Senior Investigating Officer Superintendent Dave Powell said, whilst we appreciate and encourage the support of the public to help us solve crimes, detectives in this case must act on tangible sources, which can be checked in line with established police procedures. Hampshire Constabulary will always value genuine efforts to pass on information that may prove helpful to police in their inquiries. However, no firm evidence has been provided by police by clairvoyants or seances. Other information provided to the police about burial sites in Parkhurst Forest and Gurnard have been analysed but did not prove credible based on our standards for sources. Any search for human remains requires a substantial investment of police time, expertise and resources. Officers would need verifiable information to justify such a search. Regrettably, we must remember that Damien's disappearance has been the subject of much misinformation and gossip over the last 16 years. Okay, that was the official statement. There is I have them messaged back, and I haven't received a message to my question, which I think would probably clear up. It may clear up, the issue. Yeah. And I'm just trying to find it now. I've lost it. Let me just. This is where I need somebody that knows what they're doing. Here we go. Thanks for the details, Duncan. Really appreciate it. I know one piece of info was from a clairvoyant, which, this is just my opinion, which in my mind cannot be deemed as sound evidence. The other information that was given, can we say what it was and why it was deemed unreliable? Also, the march took place. There was some confusion as to why the organiser was told she would be met by the officer in charge, but then they knocked the door and there was no reply. This was actually filmed by the BBC. Is there any response to that? I'm still waiting, and I'm not saying that Duncan will make us wait. I would imagine as soon as he got the details, he would send it to us. Yeah. So that's where we are. And I'm hoping that we're going to get a call from America. Speak to Valerie, maybe.
Kaylee's going
and also Kaylee as well. So if you want to call now, it's 240666, and if you're on Skype, it is vectis.radio. Vectis.radio. So what's your recollection of it? Is that where we are, or have we moved on, or is there more to it?
Gosh, I think we covered everything, haven't we? That was.
I mean, I say again. I mean, where we were a little while ago. When we were talking a little while ago.
2 weeks ago, I think we discussed it, didn't we?
At the end of the day, the thing is, let's not forget, there's someone gone missing. He's been missing for 16 years.
He was a 16-year-old child at the time,
and people do want to help. And it's obvious that the police have had a lot of information that was just duff by the sound of it. Hi, who's this? Hello.
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 Oh, hello.
Oh, somebody's been fiddling with the buttons here over the weekend. Right. Okay. Is that Kaylee?
It is.
It is. We spoke about an hour ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, were there any surprises in the statement, or is that what you received anyway?
Yeah, that's basically what has been sort of bandied out over the past couple of weeks anyway.
Right.
Well, there was nothing that surprised me in that.
The reason why I wanted to do that and do it that way is because I wanted to go back to square one, because I can see it from the police's point of view. You're coming in on a story, and I wanted to get the facts and figures, because I know that Facebook is a great thing, and I know that all the other, Twitter and things like things like that are really, really great. But sometimes, unless you're reading, where it's come from, the source, and so on and so forth, it might be a load of old hooch. So, I'm not slagging people off here. I just wanted to hear it and find out the facts for myself. How do you feel that you have been treated? How does the family feel? Are you in connection with them?
I am. Prior to doing the march, I've never had any connections with the family. But obviously, before I set it up, I did contact Val to make sure that she didn't mind me doing it. I didn't want to sort of upset the family or anything. And I also had a lengthy phone call with Val where she filled me in on all the facts to do with the sites, so that what I was saying was the truth. It wasn't just what was rumoured on Facebook and Twitter and all that.
That's the unfortunate thing is that, this has been going on for 16 years, and, lots of people have their opinion, and sometimes they put their opinion on Facebook, and other people will read it and think, oh, well, that's facts now, that's the truth. Yeah. And that's the issue. And I can fully appreciate that the police at the moment, the team that are working on the case at the moment, have a really difficult job from, deciphering what's fact and what's fiction. Is there Is there anything, because I say this is the question I want to ask. Okay, you've got three bits of information that have come forward, and I don't know what those bits of information are, other than one of them was a séance or details from a medium. Now, I would like to know what the other bits of information were, if we're allowed to have it, purely and simply because then we could make up our own mind.
Well, I mean, the séance, the police are focusing on that a lot, but what I can say is somebody came forward to the Nettles family and to the police and gave information of a specific area of Parkhurst Forest where Damien could be. The Nettles family felt that it was tangible. I'm using that word because the police seem to be throwing that about a little bit at the minute. And wanted the area searched. However, the police said that they looked at evidence and decided that it wasn't credible enough. The séance was done after that, as far as I'm aware, and the only reason that they thought that it held any weight at all was the fact that names were brought up, and the area that they were given was literally yards from the first location. So that was the only reason that we've added that site into what we're campaigning for. The Gurnard site was, again, a member of the public that came forward with information. They came forward to the family and to the police, again, with a specific area in Gurnard that they wanted to be searched. And again, the police have said that they don't feel that it's credible enough. I mean, my argument is if you don't look, you don't know.
Yeah, no, sure.
Yeah, and that is purely all it is. I'm not saying that what the police are saying is wrong. What I am saying is, how do they know that they're right? They don't know 100% that they're right. They're asking people to come forward. People have come forward, and prior to the rewards, the people came forward. And the fact that they came forward to the family and to the police, the family are, they think that they were telling the truth. And at the end of the day, unless the police look, the family aren't going to have the peace of mind that he isn't there. I just don't see what harm it will do in looking.
Okay, I mean, I agree with that question that you've asked, and that's the same question as what I've asked. You're asking people to come forward.
I'm not getting the answers.
Are they allowed? And this is the $1 million question. Are they allowed to give you information as to why they're not searching? Because would it interfere with any case that may come ahead, or as I say, do they have to give you the information as to why? I've asked for it, and it might be the official word might be, we can't discuss those things with you, which we just have to accept, and that's where we are. We're at a status quo.
Yeah, I mean, the answer that we just keep getting, and from what I can gather, it's the same answer that Val has been given as well, is just that they looked at the evidence and they didn't believe that it was credible.
Right, okay.
But that's the only answer, and then they keep saying about the seance and the clairvoyance, they keep sort of bringing that in. I think that is a way of trying to discredit what I'm trying to campaign for. But
what's your gut feeling, Kaylee? What's your gut feeling? Because I've got to be honest, and you know, I'm looking at it and thinking, and I'm split. When somebody says there was a séance, or when somebody says there was a medium and they got information, I kind of do raise my eyebrows a bit and think, well, hang on a minute. You know, if it was in a court of law, they wouldn't probably stand up, no. And that's the issue that I have. But if there is other evidence which is nothing at all to do with, you know, I would think, well, hang on a minute, let's take this evidence seriously. I'm not saying that they haven't taken the evidence seriously, but if they put the information out there, this was the evidence that was given, we're not taking that seriously either because of this, and this. But I question that, because can they actually do that? Legally, are they allowed to do that? And I'm still waiting for an answer. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get some answers at some point today. It would be good if we could do this, you know, if we got an email back between now and 1 o'clock.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, my gut instinct is that they just need to go and look. It makes absolutely no sense to me at all how they can 100% rule an area out without going to look. I know that they have said that they've been given information of hundreds of areas, but the Nettles family aren't asking them to search hundreds of areas. It's 2 locations. I know it's specifically 3, but 2 of them are so close together that while you're searching one, you might as well search the other one.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. I mean, they have said about resources and money, and is that what it comes down to? That it's the money side of it, which if it is, that is absolutely disgusting. At the end of the day, there is a 16-year-old child that is missing on our island, and everything should be done to find him.
If, just say for instance, there is a really good reason, I'm like you, I'm sat here batting in the dark a little bit. If there was a genuine reason that they weren't going into those areas, i.e. because they did know 100% that he wasn't there, you could sit there and understand it. But because we're all batting in the dark and thinking, well, they haven't, so, you know, there is a chance. And, you know, that's why we're at this situation, that we're all questioning and saying, oh, well, you should be, and why aren't you, and so on and so forth. But again, I come back to the technicalities, the legalities of it all. Can they actually say any reason why they can't, you know, that they cannot search that area? Is that something I mean, I would maybe, have you got anybody that's solicitor-minded that can ask that question?
I haven't, but I will look into that. I mean, I would have thought that if they had 100% proof that he wasn't there, they would have told the Nettles family this.
Right.
And they haven't.
No.
So all they have said is that they've looked at the information and they don't believe that it's credible.
Val had put up on the 18th of November on the Damien page on questions that she had wanted answers and hadn't been answered yet, and one of them was number 7. Why have the potential burial sites been dismissed out of hand? The police say they do not trust the source. They say both sources have criminal connections and are not reliable, but in the same breath the police tell me that they use criminals all the time to get information.
Yeah,
no, it's a good point.
If it's a source and it's information, they should follow up on it.
It has also been put on, Val has also put on, so I will repeat it, that when they were searching the cycle track, the source said at the time they were searching the wrong place.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that either. There's lots of it that I don't understand. My main objective is just to carry on and keep putting the pressure on for the police to either agree to search the areas or at least give us the correct information as to why they won't.
No,
at the moment, they're sort of dodging the question, skirting around the outside of it.
And the other thing is, I mean, this is the other, and it's going to be silly, and people will look at the radio and say, you shouldn't really say that. But I mean, there were certain people that were saying, let's just go up there and have a look anyway.
A lot of people said they'd go up and dig.
And what was the official word? The official word, well, don't do that, because otherwise you might ruin a case if there was one.
Yeah,
if you're 100% right on what you're saying, he's not there, then you wouldn't be worried, would you?
Yeah.
So, exactly. I mean, this is why I set up the peaceful march to begin with, was because people were on about going up there, and that was my concern, was that if Damien was there, would evidence be disturbed? And I actually said this to the police officer that rang me initially to liaise with me with the march. I did actually say this to him, and he fully agreed. So if they don't believe that he's there, what harm would it do?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question. Be careful how you answer it. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Why do you think that the police aren't searching there? What's your feeling? Is it you must? I mean, you've been campaigning. You've come up against a brick wall, and you must have sat at home thinking, well, hang on a minute. Why are you not doing this? Is there a do you feel?
I am having to keep asking myself that question. I've come up against, even doing the march. You are aware of the problems that I had there, and I do keep asking myself the question, and I haven't got the answer. I've got my own sort of thoughts, which I'd rather not say. But you tell me, why don't the police want to search these areas? I just don't understand. Don't get it at all.
I mean, I also asked the question, and hopefully we'll get some official details back. And not that it matters much, because I don't think you can put a price on this. But obviously they've got a budget they've got to stick to. How much would a search cost? Some people said it's just a case of, hey, you've got these super duper equipment now. You can just go into the area with
you've got like the
devices
scanners, haven't you,
and a scanner. How long would that take? Probably a couple of hours. Would it or not? I mean, that's just me talking. They might be listening now. The police might be listening now, thinking, "Well, you don't know what you're talking about. That is going to take probably a good morning, and it's going to cost X." But that's the whole point. If we knew, we wouldn't get upset by it. And the trouble is, we're being asked for information. Going back to a point that you've made, people have given information, and now it's been turned away. But defending the police, sitting on the fence a little bit. The trouble is, when you know that there's a reward out there, there will be, sadly, there will be an element of people out there that are just going to take potluck. And by that, I mean, they get themselves a lottery ticket, and it's an awful way of putting it, but sadly, that's how some people's minds work. They'll be saying, he's over there. They'll phone the police, and I know where he is. Just potluck, just so they might get £20,000 out of it, which is a disgusting thing.
This is why I haven't actually said openly where the areas are, because I don't want people doing that.
Right.
But also, the people that came forward, the two people that came forward before that reward.
Yeah, before the reward. And
before the reward.
Parkhurst is in a massive, massive area, so the fact that the clairvoyant from the seance managed to kind of say there, and it's so close. So very, very close. I mean, America, New Zealand, Australia, they use clairvoyants, mediums, loads for police cases and have very, very good results from doing it. So I don't see why they can't just go, No,
I mean, there's other cases of missing children, which the police are still searching now, which they should be.
Yeah.
100% they should be, but why aren't they doing it for Damien?
Yeah. I mean,
that is the answer. That's the questions I keep asking, is why in one place in Britain can a child be still being looked for now? I mean, that is thousands of man-hours.
Yeah.
And yet over here, they're just not looking. It's not as if they have searched a lot of areas for Damien over the years, because it's only over the past 2 years that things seem to have sort of escalated a little bit. And that's what I want to do, keep the momentum going now. I mean, I've got lots planned, and I will carry on until the police do agree to search the areas, or at least give me a good enough reason, or the Nettles family rather, a good enough reason why they won't.
Yeah.
I say it comes down to the same question: can they legally tell you? Can they legally give you the information? The silly thing is they've given you some of the information. They've saying that people have come forward, but they're not going to search. But they haven't given you a reason why, other than credibility. But
they haven't given the family a reason why. This is what I don't understand. Fair enough not to put it out into the press, and obviously not to just tell Joe Bloggs down the road. But they haven't told the Nettles family why, and surely they should be telling them why, to put their mind at rest.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I think that's everything covered. We've got lots of other things coming up, so
well, go on, tell us.
I will be in touch.
What have you got coming up?
Cows Carnival. We're going to be doing Cows Carnival with my car plastered in posters of Damien. We've got walkers coming as well. Poster campaign, and then in the new year we're planning another march towards the end of January as the starting point for the rallies of the petitions that we're going to get set up and carry that on. I'm not sure, I'm looking into at the moment how many names I have to get on this petition before I can take it higher. If I've got to take it to Downing Street, I will take it to Downing Street.
Yeah. Good for you.
At the end of the day, this isn't... I think... the police thought that the march would be it, and I do want to let them know that wasn't it. This is just the beginning, and I will carry on.
Okay, hang on a sec. There's somebody on the other line. I'm just not sure whether they want to talk to you or not. Hi, who's this?
Hey, Ian, it's Valerie.
Hello, Valerie. Do you want us to keep Kaylee on the other end of the phone, or did you want to speak to her?
Only if she wants to. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. She's done really well.
Yeah, no, she's done brilliantly well.
She's done very, very well. It's just one thing I wanted to clarify, and that's about what the police can and cannot say.
Okay. Well, can we leave you on, Kaylee? Can you stick around? Okay.
So, yeah, that's fine.
I think you obviously need to hear this.
Yeah.
Okay. Valerie.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm on
you're live.
Yeah,
you're live on Vectis Radio.
Hello. All right. Yeah. You mentioned about what the police can and cannot say in public. Obviously, they cannot say, who the sources are, and how they've interviewed them, and what their conclusions are. I mean, they have actually told me that. It's just my point with this whole thing is that I'm not convinced, having spoken to these two different sources, that what they have told me in detail, in a very complex, detailed way, that actually the first one frightened me. It frightened me. Me and Sarah were on the island in 2011 when this came out, and we were contacted by people who came forward to tell us what they thought they knew. It actually frightened us because we were on the island at the time and we felt, unsafe. And the second one, we've actually spoken to the source there too, and we are not convinced. Although the police say they've the first one that the police talked to, they said, they gave me the reasons why they're going to dismiss that one. I'm not convinced, okay? And the second one, again, I'm not convinced, but the police just, they don't want me to say that the wording that they've dismissed it or out of hand dismissed it, because they say they've looked at it and they've assessed it, and that's why they're not doing it. But I am not convinced on both of those that by not following through further with both of those inquiries, I'm not convinced that one or the other doesn't have some validity, especially the Gurnard one. I had information this morning. I've been up since 4 o'clock, but I had an email this morning from the Isle of Wight, someone confirming that 50% of the people in Cowes know that Damien's been buried down Gurnard Way. Now, that came out this morning. I'm getting this a lot. People knowledge for years that Damien's been buried down in Gurnard. Well, of course, they looked in one area of Gurnard, but this is a different area. I can't say a whole heck of a lot, but I'm just saying what I know is, and Dave knows this, my SIO, he knows this. If there's 1% chance that Damien could be buried somewhere on that island, and both of these sites, to my mind, could possibly have a great interest, and they won't go further with it, that just leaves me not knowing. And he did, and don't get me wrong, I'm 100% pleased with the way it's gone in the last 2 years, because, I mean, obviously it was 14 years with next to nothing. Then in the last 2 years we've had a lot. So I'm not going to complain about that. I'm thrilled that they've done the reward, but I can't sit here and just say, okay, they said he's not there, so we just don't bother thinking about it anymore, because it's now in my head. And any parent who might want to just put themselves in that spot for a minute and wonder, could your child, who disappeared and vanished off the face of the earth, remotely possibly 1% be in that spot? Wouldn't you want to go look?
100%.
You wouldn't be able to stop yourself, would you?
No, absolutely.
I can't. I'm 4,000 miles away.
Can I just clarify one thing? So they've actually, the police have actually said officially the reasons why they're not going to continue the search in those areas.
Well, they've told me their reasoning. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to put you on the spot. So officially they can tell you then. Are you?
They've told me, and they will tell me, but they will not tell the public.
Okay.
They can't do that.
No, that's fair enough.
They've got sources to protect, and I get that 100%, and I've got to protect those same people. And I can't say too much more than what I've said, you know. It's complex. It's very complex, and there's a lot of information. I'm not 100% satisfied, though, with what I'm being told. And if there's 1% chance he's out there, I would want to know.
Of course you would.
I think any parent would.
Absolutely, I 100% agree with you. So you know, it is official. You've said that. You know the reasons why, but the rest of us don't know. And maybe it's a case of, you know, communication from the police. Maybe in their statement they should have said, you know, the Nettles family, they know the reasons why. You know, it's not a case of we've got to keep stum on it and not allowed to say it. They do know the reasons why. So I mean, that's something that Kaylee didn't know either. Yeah. So you know, I think it's a communicational thing, but it doesn't help you because they've said no. Right, and they've only, you know, maybe I don't know everything, you know, I mean, they may not have told me everything, but they've told me enough that I'm not 100% sure that he's not there. I'm not 100% sure. I won't be until someone goes up there and either goes over it with a geothermal imaging and says there's no, you know, anomalies in this ground, there's nothing been done, or they dig it up and have a look. And this whole thing about seances is I don't know why there's this. It's probably my own fault for bringing it up in the first place, you know, that there was a seance. But I was only interested in it in as much, it's like Kaylee has said, that it was close enough to the other site that it gave that particular site in Parker's Forest some validity in my mind. And it just seemed very interesting that the information that came out of that seance matched very closely some of the stuff that was being said about the other site. So that was why. This is not to do with the reward. All of this came out well before any reward was spoken of. These people came forward to me, and like I say, it's a very complex situation, very complex information. I'm aware of everything that's been said because I was contacted personally. And the seances, by the by, it's not all about seances and intangible information. This is to do with real people who came forward with real information, which is what we've been encouraging people to do. But now, I mean, they're almost like being discouraged now because they're coming forward with the information, and then they're being told that, well, it's not credible. So I mean, it's right. putting out there a bit of a negative. Yeah, it's a negative vibe out there. What I mean, legally, could you employ a private eye to, you know, look at the area, or employ somebody to look at the area to do a scan?
Well, you know, that costs money, and I haven't got that kind of money to employ.
Okay, well,
to do that.
It was a throwaway question. I'm just thinking, right, okay, is there someone out there that can help you?
I have had someone on the island who has been pro bono looking into things for me, but we've just got nowhere with it. We're butting our heads against a brick wall.
Okay, well, what if we did something like? I mean, at the moment, I'm waiting for the police to get back to us because I said, is it about a cost? Is it about the cost? And obviously, they will. They're trying to work out how much it would cost. Just say, for instance, if it came back that it was going to cost £1,000. You know, I'm pretty sure that there'd be enough people to chip in and pay £1,000 for someone to do an independent, test or something.
Yeah.
Well, how about this idea? Okay, there's £20,000 on the table.
Yeah.
Put your money where your mouth is. If nobody comes forward in 6 months and the police determine they're not going to renew that reward, just take £1,000 out of that, thank you.
Yeah.
Where's that money? You know, that money must be in a budget somewhere, right?
Mm.
And, perhaps they could do that. And I don't want them throwing money away, obviously, that good money after bad or whatever, but I was promised that I would not, after this last couple of years, that every stone would be unturned, and that I would know that when this was said, when this theory was brought up, or that theory, or this was brought up, or that was brought up, they could say, hand on heart, Mrs. Nettles, the police would say, we've looked at that, and we've done it, and we've investigated it, and there's nothing to it, or whatever. But I will still always be wondering if my son's body is lying out there somewhere in the middle of Gurnard or Parkhurst Forest.
Mm.
And we're not asking for the whole, forest. It's just a smaller area that we've been told of. I don't know what to do, Ian. I don't know. It's been 16 years. I just don't know what to do.
No, I can't even imagine what you must be feeling, and your day-to-day thoughts and so on and so forth. I can't. I was talking about this earlier on, and I can think about how it might be for 5 minutes, and then my mind can wander, and it's forgotten because I'm not in that entrapment that you are. I mean, it must be absolutely dreadful. Just one thing, just one more positive thing, because let's end on a positive note. We have a brand new police commissioner. For what it's worth, I've contacted him. He wasn't aware of any facts. Has anybody else contacted him? Do you?
I haven't.
No.
I haven't, and I only know of one person that said they contacted him regarding that event on Saturday. As I don't know if anyone's written to this commissioner. He's fairly new in the job, and I know that's on my mind to maybe approach that. I need to know how to go about doing it.
Well, so you know, I've contacted him this weekend. Okay. He is promising to get back to me at some point this week. He's going to make himself au fait with the case. Now, it's just one of those avenues that maybe we've got to explore. But I wanted to go back to the beginning because I mentioned this about 2-3 weeks ago. Has anybody contacted him? He's going to be fresh in the job. He's going to be wanting to impress people. Yeah. And this is a big job, and he needs to get behind this. Yeah. But it obviously he needed to be made aware of it. Now people talk and people say, yeah, I'm going to do it, but I've done it. I've sent the email and I've got a response from him. Fingers crossed. He is now, as we speak, looking into the case, and maybe.
Thank you for doing that.
No problem at all. I don't mean to be rude. I don't want thanks. I just want to help, and and I say there's so many people that want to help. But fingers crossed, we're going down the right road, because what seems to happen and what has happened in the last little while, people say they're going to do things, they don't. So they take it. Other people think, oh, that's already been done.
Yeah.
And it hasn't. So, I've gone back to square one. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get a response from them officially. Just to take it any further, they might be some leeway. I don't know, but let's keep our fingers crossed.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ian.
No problem. Anything to help. You know that.
All right.
Thanks for being there today. Speak soon.
Right.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. And Kaylee, thanks very much for being here.
That's okay. Thank
you. Any help we can give you, you know where we are.
Yeah, brilliant.
All right. Cheers.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers
Bye.
now. Bye. It's 16 minutes away from 1 o'clock. You listen to Vectis Radio. We'll take a quick break and then we'll come back. On line 1. Hi, Matthew.
Hello there. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. How is you?
Excellent. Yeah, not too bad. I was just phoning up regarding the Damien's Nettles March.
Yeah.
With regards to that.
You went on the march, did you?
Yes, I did, yeah. I took part, and it was very disappointing that there was this mix-up regarding the stewards. We didn't have the stewards that was arranged. It's very disappointing. It's very disappointing how the police handled this overall. All we're looking for here is answers, answers that can be found, and some kind of justice for Damien and Valerie and the rest of the family here. There are some areas of this case that are grey areas, and the more answers can be found, the better it will be for everybody.
Yeah.
So let's just clear something up then. There was a problem with the marshals then. There was a problem with the stewarding. What was your understanding of it first of all then?
Well, I mean, we popped along on Saturday and had a chat with you, and Kaylee went into the studio, of course, and it was yourselves that were going to take part, I believe, and help us out with the stewarding. And as far as I've heard, there was a phone call made by the police that everything was in hand from their end, and they were going to directly support the event, which didn't transpire, unfortunately. The police community officers on duty followed the march from behind, whereby really maybe we could at least have one of them at the front and one at the back. Would have been a bit more ideal.
I did see in the pictures that they were kind of hovering behind you a little bit.
Can I just clarify one thing, 100%? Vectis Radio were never ever going to be part of the stewarding.
Oh, right, OK, my apologies.
OK, because none of us, I mean, I can't speak for all of us. I do know that there is a couple of members of the team at Vectis Radio that do it in their own time,
right,
but nothing at all connected to Vectis Radio whatsoever.
OK, my apologies.
No, that's fine. Just to clarify that. And what was the excuse given for the non-opening of the door and meeting the policeman that gave the phone call at 8:30 saying that they would open the door and discuss things?
Well, I'm yet to hear one. I'm sure that Katie Hall has had a chat, and so unfortunately I'm late in tuning in to the show, and I had to reset up my laptop to download the show. So I don't know what else has been said already, but I'm yet to hear what is the position of the police on this matter, and hopefully there will be an official statement made soon that can clear up what the position was and why we didn't get to speak with anyone.
I have asked for those details by way of email. Just hang on a sec there, Matthew. Hi, who's this?
Oh, yeah, that's Amanda.
Hello, Amanda. Just hang on a sec there. We're just finishing off Matthew, OK?
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. So hopefully we will. I mean, I say we've asked a couple of questions over the weekend, and you know what it's like. It gets really busy over the weekend. I'm sure Duncan's got a lot on his plate today. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get some answers. It doesn't look like they're going to materialise today, but we have asked the question why the door wasn't opened for a start, and a couple of others too. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have those answers officially.
I'm surprised that the police said that they didn't need stewards, because any kind of event like that needs stewards.
But how many do you need?
Because if we have a carnival, we need 22 to walk a carnival round the town.
All right, so how many people actually took part in the march?
Well, I think we were looking at around within people that we picked up a few people along the street. I think we was plus 40. We were looking at 40 to 45, I think, including those who decided to sort of join halfway round.
Yeah.
Down to the police station. And then the ones who sort of started the march stayed outside the police station, so it sort of dwindled down to about 35 or so. And of course, people were a little bit unsure about what exactly was going on and what not. And of course, there is this thing where people aren't sure what their rights are.
Yeah.
They see these rallies, and some people assume that we're breaking some law, but it's actually the right of the people, if they have an issue over a particular event, to to rally and to protest, if it's all done with communication with the police, as Kaylee did, then it can happen. And just I'm aware that you've got other people who wish to speak, and I'm very grateful for that. Of course, against with any island issue that's going on, I just want to say I really hope that more people in the community can get back involved and re-involved or become involved with this, because it's very paramount that we do form as a community to discuss anything related to issues like this, and within that the more we form as a community and unite together over any particular issue, then we can progress from that. So whereby anyone that's like taking a muted position or are not making themselves accessible in any given role of responsibility, that just breaks things down, and that's not what we want in our society. We want cohesive, progressive peace and prosperity.
Yeah, that's very well put. Thank you very much for phoning.
You're welcome.
Cheers. Thank you.
Talk to you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got Amanda on the line. Hi, Amanda.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. We're kind of open house, but the subject has been dominated by the story of Damien Nettles, the march, and obviously the disappearance, and the fact that there are areas that maybe certain people should be searching, and and they're not. Did you want to add anything to that, or is it something else you want to talk about?
Well, sadly, because I'm not from that kind of area, I haven't really kind of got a clue on what's going on. So
right,
I feel a bit bad that I just, that I'm kind of oblivious to it all. So I just kind of, just sort of wish that everybody, that things go in the right direction for everybody. But what I mainly phoned up was just to say I'm now sitting in the library writing out everybody's Christmas cards.
On a lighter note, we're talking Christmas cards. How many are you sending?
However many there are on the Vectis crew.
Just send the one.
Just send the one, yeah. Just send the one.
To Vectis Radio.
My wife did this over the weekend. She had a blooming great pile of cards, and they all had second-class stamps on. And I'm thinking, that's my beer money this week. We can give out. So, if you do have any information, you get in touch with the police, can't you? 101, is it?
Yeah.
You can phone 101 if you do have any information whatsoever. But hopefully, fingers crossed, tomorrow at some point we will have a response from the new police commissioner, and maybe another response from the Isle of Wight police as well. This isn't us having a dig.
No.
This isn't us having a moan. We're just putting the facts out there. And I'm glad that Valerie phoned just to clear up a few things. Yes, she has been made aware of the reasons why, and obviously we're not going to be made aware of the reasons why. And I don't mind that. It's her shout on that. We all hope for the same thing, don't we? We are all hoping for exactly the same thing.
That she gets some closure and she gets her boy back.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We're all singing from the same hymn sheet here, and hopefully this last hour has cleared a few things up. And I say, if you do know anything, because at the end of the day, out there, somebody knows something.
Somebody does,
Just like that young girl that went missing 10 weeks ago.
April.
Somebody knows something. There's another guy that went missing in 1982 on the Isle of Wight. A young man, and Jeffrey
Allen.
Jeffrey Allen went missing 1982. That's 30 years. Spoke to Mum a little while ago, and you just think that's a living hell, isn't it? That is a living hell.
I could never imagine what they go through.
30 years of the same nightmare.
Yeah.
What we said earlier on. Just imagine yourself in those shoes for 5 minutes. After those 5 minutes, you can walk away from them.
Yeah.
She can't. Neither can Valerie. It's 1 o'clock. Thanks for being there, Michelle. And stand by. JT's on the way with the afternoon show.
Vectis Radio.